Don't think these guys are going to be doing too much. See the one bull in the background, they're difficult to see him, but he's actually lying flat down, his head on the ground, sleeping. And then the rest of these bulls will just ruminate for quite a while. They could spend a couple of hours at it. There's a couple of oxpeckers hopping around. You can see on his shoulder there, so they've got some guys to give them a valet service. So there's no real reason for them to move on. I guess it would be later on in the morning, mid-afternoon, when it's getting really hot. They might just stroll down to Gowrie Waterhole for a drink and a swim, drink and a mud wallow. But just while we've got such a good view, just look at the way he's chewing. You can see that sideways motion, just using those big molar teeth, literally like big grinders. He stopped chewing, he swallowed that. He's going to probably get another cud. Bring it back up from the rumen, start chewing again. Regurgitate a cud, I guess, is a better way of explaining that. I think we're going to leave these buffalo. They've got their morning plan sorted out. Nice seeing you again. We'll circle back around and just spend a little bit of time looking at the general game here as well. We'll take some advice from those buffalo. Pick a nice shady spot here. Let's try and stop the calf. Here's our wildebeest bull. One of the game reserves I used to work in, Pilanesberg National Park. The lodge I was at had an amazing view of a plain around it. The waterhole was the perfect blue wildebeest habitat, so you always had at least 3 or 4 dominant wildebeest bulls setting up their territories around the waterhole. Obviously attract a lot of females as well. It's a reserve with more grass, sort of grassland areas than here. So a lot of wildebeest. And the most dominant of all those bulls, obviously they each set up their own area, so they have to be dominant within that, but the prime area would be the one right down close to the lodge where the grazing was the best, and also right on the edge of the watering hole. That would be the area that attracted the most females. And whichever bull was dominant there, we used to always call him Wally. Wally the wildebeest. Maybe we could start thinking of this guy as Wally as well if he sticks around for long enough. So he's not doing too much. He might also follow those buffalo in a little bit and lie down and ruminate, but just the way he's standing, you can see he's standing quite proud, especially when he looks ahead of him again. He gives you that sideways view like that, really showing off his physical condition. You can see he's in good condition, good shape. So if other wildebeest bulls did walk through the area and they would see him, they would have a good look and think, we're not going to tangle with him. Or if they're confident enough, they might. But a part of his behavior to keep this area, to keep a sort of territorial dominance, is displaying. And then of course there's quite a few impala around him as well. Just to the right there's one coming through. Quite a large bachelor group, probably 20-30 antelope here, all males. Also quite lazy, not much movement from them. Let's have a look at some of them. One or two of them Now and again just looking at each other, sort of look at that. See, just locking horns a little bit. Well, maybe 3 or 4 of them sometimes, but these are mostly younger males. They're varying between 2 and 4 years old on average. So they're not really in the major competitor age yet, or competitive age yet, but they have to practice. Quite often if you sit along with these guys for long enough, especially early afternoon and even more so, especially early morning and even more so late afternoon, as it cools down and they've had a full belly of food during the day, you tend to get a little bit of that horn wrestling and tussling. And the wildebeest still there as well. He's doing a little bit of grooming. He's cleaning his legs there. And again, like we discussed a bit this morning, we had those waterbuck and impala together. The same for him. He benefits from these impala being around. It just means he doesn't have to be so aware of his environment. One of the dangers that comes with being a dominant wildebeest is that you have to stick to a certain area. That means that if there's no other animals around, you have to be your own eyes and ears with no help, obviously leaving you a little bit more vulnerable to predators. But mostly the areas wildebeest set their territories up in, it's quite attractive for other animals as well. So there's often zebra or impala or other species of animals around. That's beautiful. A little bit of mild horn wrestling, but just that lighting in the background gives an idea of how green it still is out here. Let's move along slowly. Just going to get back to the road. If we get another pair of these guys, we'll have another look. I love this feeling when everything's sort of in harmony with everything else and you really get to see some nice behavior. As Impala's doing a bit of horn wrestling. Let's try and have a look at this as well, this wildebeest. Let's see what he's doing at the moment. You can say he's cleaning his horns a little bit, which is part of it. But the main reason or the main activity that he's engaging in there is getting his scent all over that tree. So again, within this whole sort of area that is his or his territory, he will often rub up against trees. There's different places where he leaves these strong scent marks. Using his hooves, he's got interdigital glands that he'll drag in the sand as well. He might do that just now. But then also rubbing up his face and his neck against tree trunks.